What can I say except
I absolutely hate it. So if you weren't aware, don't worry, I'm sure you're not the only one that let this shoe slip by unnoticed, with Vittora quietly redesigning and re-releasing the Nasha range in a complete 180. Shifting it from the now discontinued original stiffer than your crusty sock sitting on your bedroom floor after No Nut November model to its polar opposite, the Nasha Softs. Now, before I continue, I just wanted to thank Climbing Anchors and Vittora for sponsoring this video and allowing me the opportunity to give my honest review of this shoe. I make it very clear to every sponsor that my unbiased opinion is non-negotiable, otherwise I'll just pay for the shoe myself and shit on it either way. So nothing but respect to these guys for letting me give these babies a test drive and letting me share my opinions with you guys. Link to the shoes for those of you guys wanting to get a pair will be in the description below. Now, what can I actually say about the revamped climbing shoe? Well, it's a climbing shoe, alright? That's about it. It's a shoe that does what you need it to, but it doesn't necessarily excel at anything in particular. It's just, well, a climbing shoe. But at the same price range as shoes like Scarpa's Dragos, Unparalled's TN Pros, and just $10 short of shoes like Scarpa's Instinct VSRs and Tenaya's Iati, it feels like it's a shoe that's punching way outside its weight class. My biggest issue is that it feels like it's a shoe that doesn't really know where it's supposed to fit. I think it's a great first soft shoe for a beginner or intermediate climber, but at that price range, it should be considered more as a high-end pro level shoe, more so when it's priced above their own Acro Comps and Gomis, two choices which I think are actually worth the money spent. It's softer design, and I say that hesitantly for reasons I'll touch upon in a second, but its usage of NeoFuse rubber, which for those of you who have watched my video on the Acro Comps know, I'm a big fan of due to its stickiness, is kind of negated by the full length outsole that's supposed to give it a medium level stiffness for support. But months of wear later, and I find the stiffness unfortunately no softer after breaking them in, which I had hoped would help make it a bit better for volume walking and smearing. Admittedly, it's not the worst for it. It's not like the stiffest shit old Nashas that had no give. It does still bend and flex, it just feels like if it was meant for that purpose, you know, it's kind of in the name Nasha Soft, why give it this level of stiffness at all? If Vittora wanted to build more of an all-rounder shoe, I would have accepted the stiffness a little bit more, but other elements of the shoe design really don't help sell that as such. The toe rubber, as with many other shoes these days, covers only the top of the big toe instead of the majority of the foot to allow it a bit more freedom to move as needed, with more of a cosmetic change from the old models, removing the flashy wing design from the rubber and going for a smoother traditional look, which personally I'm a bit disappointed in. If nothing else, I thought that the flashiness of the Nashas was what gave an interesting edge over the competition. I personally think that covering the top of the foot with more rubber is the superior design, as it just feels better, especially on dynamic toe catch type of climbs that you see with modern bouldering every now and then, and especially for a shoe like this that leaves a lot of less durable material exposed for wear and tear, which you can see here with the stitching that ties down the leather upper to the inner lining, already starting to fray. This leads me to take a few points off the toe hook performance with less durability, less friction, and more sensitivity, also known as pain, since it's not protected by any rubber. And we all should know by now to use rubber for protection at all times. This is your friendly PSA for practicing safe sends. Heel hooking feels like it's pretty stock standard, again feeding the idea of the shoe kind of being the epitome of an average climbing shoe. It doesn't feel amazing, but it doesn't feel terrible either. Though in saying that, I definitely sized wrong here, making it impossible to slip on the left foot without a plastic bag. And even then, the heel still feels kind of only average despite it being marketed with a narrow molded heel cup and undersized to all hell. The Nashas are designed in a highly asymmetrical and aggressive downturn profile, giving them excellent driving power on overhangs, and its less than soft outsole does give it some good support for tiny footholds, making it an overall decent option for a wide range of different types of sport climbing. I just don't really rate it for bouldering, which feels like it was more designed for that purpose with its soft nature. The shoe is designed with a more narrow foot profile in mind, making it not ideal for those with wide feet like myself, which may have made the shoe feel a little bit better if I had the foot profile for it. For correct sizing, I would say sizing true to size if you want a tight bouldering fit, but since the shoe is a bit narrower, I think I should have opted more for a full size up, matching my Vittora Acro Comps, because quite frankly, this was not a fun one to film. So make sure to subscribe and like the video as a bit of thanks for putting myself through this hell. The extra internal NFS strap is supposed to allow you to shift from comfort to precision, by pulling the sides in tighter, which for me really made no difference since I sized wrong in the first place, but that one is on me, so I'll hold back on bad-mouthing that aspect. Though as a mild annoyance, it does sometimes catch on the internal polka dot threading on the inside, which slightly frays it. Honestly, it doesn't affect performance or really affect the shoe in any way. It's just kind of annoying seeing it get frazzled for no reason. I have gotten both it helps tighten the fit and it doesn't do anything opinions by 2 other people who have used the shoe, so you can take that with a grain of salt and make up your own opinions on it. Speaking of annoying aesthetic durability, the actual Nasha tag on the strap has also ripped off. Again, not performance affecting, but more of an annoyance and just something to note if I'm going to be thorough with this review. Now, I will give Botura credit for actually covering the strap and having it designed as an internal adjustment system, rather than having it exposed like all the other cross-strap systems out there that end up taking an absolute beating. This is one of those design things that have never made sense to me and I've hated for a while. So I'm really glad that Botura moved in the right direction for that one. The innovation game has grown kind of stagnant with climbing shoes, with few companies trying to make something new or even grow their lineup out by covering the different foot profiles. Instead, many are just throwing a new coat of paint on old shoes and slapping a new year at the end of it. Other companies feel like they just don't know where they want to position themselves in the market or what purpose the shoe they're designing is actually serving. For me, the Nashas fall under this camp, not really designed for anything in particular, trying to be a bit of everything but excelling at nothing, but then positioned at the top of the range for no particular reason. And the old Nashas at the very least were an ultra stiff shoe, probably the stiffest I've ever felt in or out of anyone's pants, making it a great option for those tiny foot chips where you needed support. So where exactly does that leave the Nasha Soft? Where is it supposed to sit in the lineup? What's its purpose? Honestly, I don't know. If it fits you perfectly versus any other shoe brands, I guess that's a win for you. But in terms of value, for me, this just missed the mark, which is maybe why Botura was pretty quiet about re-releasing it. Hell, I can't even find it being promoted on their website anymore. The final verdict?
That's just a shoe.
Thanks again to Climbing Anchors for sponsoring this one. If you guys are interested in at least trying out the Nashas or checking out the wide range of other shoes and climbing gear that Climbing Anchors stock, be sure to check out their website or drop by and say hello at one of their physical stores. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to get more reviews in the future. Next up on the list is the Mad Rock Rovers, unless Phil over at Mad Rock HQ watches this video and gets me early access to those sexy Shark 3.0s. Otherwise, we'll have to wait till they're actually in stock. Till next time, you legends, happy late New Year's to all of you, stay safe and happy sending.